This video is going to demonstrate the applicable use of the new V2 post-processing stack. For this course, you're currently using the post-processing from the asset store. However, that's been deprecated and replaced with the V2 post-processing volumes. To get started, we need to go to Window, Package Manager. The Package Manager is going to allow us to download the post-processing volumes as well as other Unity-specific assets. If we scroll down here, you'll see here that there is a post-processing volume, post-processing preview. Install that, and it will then install it into your packages folder. Once we install this package, we can then apply post-processing volumes to our application. Now that we have the post-processing volume, let Unity compile. It may take a few minutes depending on the processing power of your computer, but once it's ready, you'll see it right here if you drop down the packages folder. And you'll see it down here, post-processing. So now, how do we get started with post-processing? The first thing you need to do to enable the post-processing stack V2 is basically select the main camera, and we need to add what's called a post-process layer. So we're going to add a new component here, and we're going to type in post, and we're going to add the post-process layer. This is basically where we tell the computer, or we tell our main camera, hey, you're going to use this layer for post-processing. So instead of having it to where you just applied a profile behavior before and it affected everything, you now have more control over what's actually being processed. So here with the post-processing layer, it automatically assigned our main camera. That's great. But now what we need to do is assign it a layer. You'll see here that no layer has been set. The trigger will never be affected by volumes. What we can do is we can determine which layer is going to use the post-processing effects. So we're going to go to Layer, we're going to add a layer, and on layer 8, we're going to add post-processing. Once we've done that, we'll select the main camera again, and we're going to assign the layer to post-processing. Now we can move on to the post-process volumes. The way post-processing works in this framework is by using local and global volumes. It allows you to give each volume a priority and set of effect overrides to automatically blend post-processing settings in your scene. For instance, you could have a light vignette effect set up globally, but when the player enters a cave, you would only override the intensity setting of the vignette to make it stronger while keeping the rest of the settings intact. The post-process volume component can be added to any game object. So for example, let's just create an empty object here. And let's call this post-processing volume. We'll call this post-processing volume. Once we have that created, we're going to add a post-process volume. If we type in post, you'll see here that we have a post-process volume. From there, we want to make sure that isGlobal is checked so that our entire world is going to be affected. And then what we're going to do is we need to now add a profile. You can see here that it's looking for a post-process profile. Select New, and it's automatically going to generate one for you and assign it to the slot. From here, we can begin adding effects. So just go to Effects, Unity, and then we can select the effects we'd like to apply. Let's go ahead and select Bloom. I'm going to enable all of the options, and let's begin modifying these values. Let's say here that I wanted to add a more bluish tone to everything. You'll notice here that nothing is actually occurring. If I change the intensity, nothing's happening. It's because the layer of this volume is set to default. Watch what happens when we go to Layer and set it to post-processing. Our effects now should be taken change. So here, you'll see if we increase the thresholds of things, we're now getting actual results. If I change the layer back to default, nothing's going to happen. So it's very important that your post-processing volume is on the post-processing layer so that your main camera can read from it. So here we've added some bloom. Let's go back in and let's add some color grading here. And within the color grading, you'll see here that we're getting a warning. Color space and project settings is set to gamma. HDR color grading won't look correct. Switch to linear to use LDR color grading mode. Well, to do that, we can go to Edit, Project Settings, and I believe it's in quality. And basically, we're in a gamma color mode. We need to go to linear, and I'm not seeing it here. So what we need to do is go to Edit, Project Settings, and it may actually be in Graphics. And I apologize, it's actually in Edit, Project Settings, it's in Player. And within Player, you'll see here that our color space is set to gamma. If we change it to linear, that's going to allow us to use more true linear colors, basically brighter colors. And with that, we can then select the post-processing volume, and we can now adjust our color grading. So if I wanted to, I'm going to create, let's go ahead and turn a few of these guys on, such as tone mapping the mode. And what I'm going to do here is I want to use a custom, let's go with ACS mode. I'm going to add some temperature here, and I want to make it really warm. So I'm going to increase this here. I can add some tint if I want. Let's get a cold tint, maybe a warm tint. And actually, let's make this a little cold. And let's check out how this is going to look. Right now, the biggest impact should be the explosions and maybe our laser. Let's check it out. And here you go. So we have this night blue, and if I destroy something, we have that really cool blue lightning effect when it destroys. So that wraps up upgrading the post-processing stack. In terms of what's available, it's all the same, but I highly recommend you upgrade your project to the post-processing volume v2. It's entirely available to you through the package manager, which is in Window, Package Manager. Go to Window, Package Manager, and then install it. Once you install it, you go to Main Camera. You're going to add a post-process layer. You're going to assign the layer for it to work on, and then create an empty object to host your volumes. Once you create that, you need to make sure that your volume is on the post-processing layer. Make sure to stay connected at gamedevhq.com, and I'll see you guys in the next one.